Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fallout Roundtable. This is a place where diverse individuals discuss various topics from the Fallout universe. Join us, the conversation has already started.
Welcome to another episode of the Fallout Roundtable. My name is Maverick Stone. Today we have Gingerino, we have Sassy Lady, and we have Romer joining us. Everyone say hello.
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 Hey, Romer's awake today. Yay.
Before we get to our special guest of the evening, remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. How you can find us? Just type the Fallout Roundtable. How you know it's us? It's the same logo as our Spotify. Also, rate our Spotify. How about you also subscribe to our Twitter at FalloutRTB, or send us an email under falloutrtb@gmail.com. We got a special guest today. We got Chip. Chip is back.
Chip is back.
He wanted to come back, so
right. He wanted to come back, y'all. He chose to come back.
we did not force him back.
I am happy to come back. So
Well, awesome. So how about you take it away, Sassy Lady, with
okay.
what you I feel like I'm forgetting something now.
Oh, you forgot to introduce the little one.
Oh yeah. Gingerino Jr. is on with us as well.
Yeah. He's there. We got the little guy today. Okay.
Atta boy. Look at that. Podcasting legend.
All right. Like on point, like knew his lines and everything.
Don't worry, Chip. You won't be on the whole time. You'll get the spotlight, I swear.
Yeah. No, he's going to steal it there for sure. All right. So, as mentioned, we have Chip of the Chipmunk Show, a YouTube, is it like a variety show, a sitcom, right? Like a comedy sitcom. You can find that on YouTube. It's really easy to find. If you just search Chipmunk Show, you're going to find it. And it's pretty hilarious. So we brought on the, the Brain Trust, the creator and tireless, the creator, the writer, the main star, the everything guy to talk with us tonight about his show. So take it away.
Well, yes, thank you guys for having me back, and it's a pleasure. I love your podcast, and I love what you're doing. So many of the episodes are so good.
Wow.
There are a few though.
Some of them are so good.
Yes,
some of them are just mediocre.
We are aware that some of them are like,
we all
maybe not.
That.
Well, yeah, I mean, you all have like, hey, that's podcast gold, and some of them are like, yeah.
It's always the ones you think that's not going to fly, and ends up getting the most hits. Like, what do I not see that everybody else does?
Kind of like our nuclear power episode. There's so many people on there, and I'm like, the same thing what you were just telling. I'm like, what do people see in that?
Yeah, we thought it was kind of lame when we did it, but we were just like, we got nothing else. Let's go with it. And then people actually liked it.
Peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. I often wonder if you could do the demographic studies that the studios do, how wrong you'd be on your opinions as opposed to what they're coming back with. But that's beside the point.
That would be interesting.
Yes. So, but yeah, the Chipmunk Show, that like many things in the community, I've heard this from a number of people. It was kind of the result of COVID in a lot of ways, or the genesis of it. Because I had come from a film and TV background, and I had left it about, I don't know, eight or 9 years ago. No, it was 12 years ago, and was going to do some indie work. And I did a little bit. I did a short film, and then I had started developing what would be my last project, which is this big Pony Express feature film. And right when we got everything ready to go, and I mean, I can't even tell you, years of writing and rewriting with various writers, and then working with lawyers and the SEC and getting everything ready for, to bring on investors. Right when we were going to open the floodgates, COVID hit, and it really shut everything down. And it was hard enough on the studios, but independent film really took a hit, and everybody was cautioning, don't, be careful, don't run into it, because if you're going to be bringing investment money into it, you're probably going to lose that. So you got to really weather the storm. And at first we thought, well, that's not going to be that long. And then it just kept dragging out, dragging out, dragging out. And the effect of that on me was, it was very depressing, because to spend that much time and energy and money to hit a brick wall like that, it was bad. So my wife and I at the time were playing 76, and as we, a couple nights in, another friend of ours joined up, and I turned off my HUD just to see what it would look like. And I'm like, I don't know if you guys realize it, but if you turn off the HUD, you become a camera. And the light went on, and it's like, well, we could make a little show or a movie or something. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, what am I going to do? And of course, they thought I was nuts to even propose it. But I'm like, let's experiment. And my background, of course, is sitcom, and I did a lot of work in children's TV as far as development and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I just want to do a fun sitcom and make it, something unique to Fallout and just have fun with it. So we did, and the first episode, we couldn't believe what we were able to accomplish with it. And that was, looking at it now, it looks so primitive to what we're doing now, but it still had the same heart. And it's like, I didn't ever plan on doing multiple seasons, but after the first season, it's like, no, there's much more story here to complete a story arc. And then I basically had already mapped out the first 3 seasons and actually planned 4, but we're in the 3rd season. We just started episode 4 of season 3, and season 3 is kind of like the combination of what would have been the 4th season, because it wasn't enough to do 2 seasons, but it's enough to make a longer season. So, but the thing is, it brought me back to life. I mean, 100% creatively, and I've had more fun than anything I've ever done. This show it is a joy to make. My friends that are in it, my wife and all my other friends and now some new people that have come on from the community, it went from 5 to 8 and is now about to grow to 10. And we have a riot when we do it, and there's no stress, and it's just so much fun to do, and no risk. I mean, I don't have to worry about liability and all the things that a producer has to worry about. If you fall off a cliff, you just respawn,
right?
As opposed to major lawsuits. So
death, dismemberment.
Yes.
You can blow people up in the game and don't have to worry about it.
And it looks fantastic too.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's very cool. So I have to tell you, you have a new fan, because I was rewatching season 2 last night, and my youngest came in and was like, "What you watching?" And of course he had to stay and was just like, "This is hilarious." So yeah, he loves it. So you have a new fan.
I love that. I get so much love from the community for it, and I never expected that. I mean, I thought if we got a couple views, that's great, but it grows and grows and grows, and people really have embraced the characters, and that's what I cared about more than anything else, because everything that I've always written, because I got it drilled in my head at UCLA long time ago, but it's like, and I'll never forget, when I first started writing, I was writing, spy thrillers and, trying to emulate action Hollywood, and they were okay, but they never hit the mark. And finally, this one guy, because the first not professor, but screenwriting teacher I had he won an Academy Award for a Jacques Cousteau film, and his ego was bigger than the sun, and he was just a horrible person. And yet I weathered the class. The next guy was an old sitcom writer who, I mean, I couldn't even tell you what his credits were, but he was a genuinely cool guy. And he told me at the end of the thing, he's like, "I like your style, but just stop writing that and write from the heart, write what you know." And that's, of course, what everybody tells you. Yeah. It took me years before I did it. And when I finally did do it, then I all of a sudden had an agent, and I was able to write the way I wanted to always hope to write. And the Chipmunk Show is a huge reflection of that, because Chipmunk is very, very much autobiographical. I mean, his personality is very, very similar to mine, extremely over optimistic and so on and so on. But he's based on Christopher Robin in Peter Pan to that point. And that always, I always wanted to, get that out there, because to me, and when I say Christopher Robin, the meaning of that is that the video game world to me has always been this place of escape and, a place to let your imagination run wild. 76 allows us to do that in ways that no other game to me ever has.
Right.
And to me, that's video games are the 100-acre wood.
76 for sure is like the biggest sandbox, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of that. It's like the biggest, I don't know, sandbox, playpen, whatever you want to call it. It's been great for people like you to create things. It's
some
awesome.
People use it as a litter box.
Maybe I mean, that's what some people call it, but yeah. But I mean, a lot of people are creating for different reasons. Well, that's what Gato Pub calls their fight nights in the litter box. So
yeah, and I love seeing everybody's take, because everybody's got such a unique, it's the same world and we're all populating it, but everybody's got a very unique version of it. And I love to see that, because it's just the explosion of creativity that's come out of it. I don't think, and I think I said this in the last time I was on with you guys, but I don't think Bethesda ever imagined that would happen. I mean, my gut tells me they thought it'll be a short term, we'll make a good profit, it'll do fine, and we'll move on to the next thing. I don't think they ever thought we would adapt it in the way we did.
Well,
and keep it
they
growing.
were shocked that we didn't. They expected it to be mostly PvP, that we would want to kill each other all the time, and that didn't happen, and that shocked them. They were like, why don't you guys want to kill each other right and left? And we're like, oh, we're all holding hands and we're like gifting y'all the newbies, and we're all just like,
or nuking other people.
Friends in the wasteland, I mean, yeah, you got the two extremes. You got the people that are like giving newbies gift, then you've got the other people that are like nuking the crap out of other people's camps because, they're charging too much for their crap. So,
or it's just fun.
And it depends on the server too, because I feel like people on PC are pretty nice, and I've heard that, what is it, Xbox are pretty nightmare.
Console players are
the Xbox
nice.
Specifically, I think, are kind of nightmare.
I don't know. I'm on Xbox and I do fine. I mean, I've got a number of people that'll show up from time to time, and we have a good time.
Yeah.
But it's a different, I mean, yes, I'm running it. Chipmunk is running around with all these people and doing, the same stuff, but we just have fun. Because, and it's not really a spoiler, but in season 3, we obviously crossed over into Elder Scrolls, but as it rolls along, you're going to see we also go into Red Dead Redemption. And as I was scouting, because it's the whole genesis of the character Victoria, and it's a beautiful pullback to the Big Valley at the end, and it's a whole nother story, and I won't spoil that. But when I went into Red Dead, and I've played Red Dead for years, it was it's like, I am scouting locations. Stop tying me up on railroad tracks, people. Stop sniping me, because I just want to see if this is going to work in the game, but I can't tell them that. And it's just all out survival once you land in Red Dead. And so I've got people like, well, we can be your security detail when we go in there. And I'm like, just getting my head around that. In order to film our scenes, we have to have a security detail. So it's like,
well, to be fair, I mean, I know that when I've worked with the theater company, the Wasteland Theater, they have people who are around to help kill anything that might attack the theater. They've got people outside that will do that, so it won't interrupt the performances. So yeah, it makes sense that you might need security.
Yeah, it's a weird. The digital world can be very strange sometimes, but
it can.
But it's fun, and I can't wait to do it. ESO is a challenge to work in, going from 76, because the mechanics work so differently, and it took us a while to adapt to that, and we have to constantly go into third person, which is frustrating, but we're working it. But Red Dead, but it's so beautiful to film in. I mean, and I love 76, but it's like when we get to go into ESO, it's like, oh, everything's so beautiful. You can't take a bad shot. And Red Dead is like that in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a beautiful collection of games that come together in this season.
Yeah, because you went into ESO at the end of season 2.
Yes.
Is when they all get sucked in there, and then they're all wandering around. It's like they're in Tamriel or whatever. It's like, where are we?
Well, what I love about that, and it wasn't originally planned, is Roy the bartender, who's my second favorite character.
I was going to ask you that later.
Yes. He is just a Vault Boy statue that, well, he isn't. He's one of the experiments.
It was an experiment.
But I wasn't going to put him in season 3. And I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't that be cool though if he was in Tamriel? Because then we bring Fallout and visually bring the two worlds together just by that thing. It ends up being one of the funniest bits in the whole thing. And now, now he can fly, and he's just all these wonderful things. And now he thinks he's a pirate, actually.
I mean,
stressing
why would he want to go back to Fallout? He can fly.
Well, right. And which pisses Chip off to no end, because of course Chip always wants superpowers and never has them. Well, I won't say.
Yeah. No spoilers.
No.
So who is your favorite character from the Chipmunk Show?
Well,
is it Chip?
Well, it is to a point, but I love Victoria, and my wife loves her because she just can do whatever she wants with that character, because she has no restraint. And I love writing characters like that, because it's just fun to just have no restraints. And she isn't. She's just this horrible person that will say or do anything.
Is this Karen or?
No, that Karen's good too, but no, Victoria,
Karen's great.
Victoria Hornwright, his
right
nemesis.
Oh, right.
Who just and in season 3, she's at her best.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Because we didn't see her a lot in 2, like a little bit, but not a ton.
She isn't. She's in Washington in the beginning, and then she comes back, but not much. But it's all a setup. I mean, she plays a major role in season 3. So, and not the ending for her you'd expect. So I'm particularly pleased with that. But yeah, I mean, Chip is at his core, he's my favorite character, because his outlook on that, we were talking about the 76 community and the Chipmunk Show in general. When you look at the timing, here's all these people that are in this post-apocalyptic, hopeless world, and that's what Chip is. And he sees a hope. He has hope. He wants to rebuild, and has this overly optimistic hope, and that changes over time. And he comes back to a more sense of reality to a point, but he never loses that spark. And the community is in there having fun, helping. It's grown into all the things we do, Fallout for Hope and everything else, and helping each other, and you name it. At the same time, our social, you look out, you turn on the news or whatever, and it's like, this is depressing. I mean, how did we get to this point? Yeah. And yet here we are in, creating and doing our own thing, which is the antithesis of that. And that's a great thing. And that's what I love so much about these projects and you guys and the community and everything else, because to me, it's the way the rest of the world should be right now.
Exactly. That would be lovely.
So we've got each other.
I don't know. I really like Tulip. I like how straightforward she is.
We have a fan.
Yes, I do like Linda's character. That's really great. Yeah, I don't know. She's just like,
is she gonna come on?
This is how it is.
I'm gonna bring her on real quick. Linda, come in here for a second.
Linda. Come on, Linda. Let's get in.
Linda, honey, listen. Linda.
Well, she's listed as co-creator.
She should be.
And she very much is. She is. Well, first of all, I have to credit her for writing the lyrics to the Joyfinger song at the end of the Joyfinger episode. Yes, it is.
Come on.
No, come on.
She's like, oh, my hair's a mess.
Linda, listen, always give in to peer pressure.
Come here.
Come
on, we don't bite.
Come on, I love Tulip.
She said, give me a minute. I understand why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go put some lipstick on, sweetie. You'll be fine.
That's fine.
But that's gonna make her night, Sassy. Thanks.
Well,
so
good.
much. So,
no, I like Tulip because she's just doesn't matter. She's all out there, and half the time she's just like, what are you doing, Chipmunk? What the hell? It's just like so funny. It's hilarious.
I have to tell you, it's totally based on the real world, because that is how our relationship is.
I love that. That is so funny.
Going back to Christopher Robin,
right? What you know, man.
In the house, she is Eeyore.
Right? What you know.
But you're gonna love the Tulip arc in season 3. It's my personal favorite character arc of the whole series, and it's so unexpected and it's so good, and you will absolutely you'll probably cry because it is. You will love it.
So I just wondered, like, how did Chip not hook up with Tulip? Like, how did he get hung up on Shauna?
Because Tulip, even though we kind of hint that he wants to have a romantic relationship with her at the beginning, but it's only because he's never had a romantic relationship.
Okay.
So it's the first girl that comes along. But he come on.
But they have a lot in common. I mean,
meet Tulip.
I got the whole big head thing.
Hi, what's up, Tulip?
Hi, Tulip.
My better
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
To be on camera.
You have
everyone.
You have a new fan club, the Tulip fan club.
The
Tulip fan club. Yes, you are my favorite.
We're gonna lobby to change the name of the podcast to that. The Tulip fan
Tulip fan club.
Now,
the Fallout Roundtable, aka Tulip fan club.
I love it.
She's the best character, Victoria, and has a ball doing that. And
okay,
you can get all your aggressions out voicing a character like
I know, right? It's great.
Yes, you can.
Victoria is pretty good. Yeah, she's pretty ballsy too.
Yes, she is.
Cracked me up, when she's laying under that supply box, and she's like, go get Chip, and they run off, and she's like, you idiots. It's like, well, you didn't tell them that they had to help you first.
They are the two of them, her sons.
Like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, they are. So but again, going back to Joyfinger, that song, because I wrote the original version and it was okay, but it wasn't quite there. She came in with those lyrics. And because that was never planned. And it's to date, it's my favorite moment that we've captured, because I'm like, okay, so Frankie starts it in the middle by singing Joyfinger to the lyrics of Goldfinger. And I'm like, that was the joke. That was the end of it.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh my God, at the end credits, if we had Emilio dancing, and then it went from there, and like, no, it's not just Emilio dancing, it's Emilio as a silhouette doing James Bond credits.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be so good. So
that's awesome.
The song, and
that's great.
I love it. It's fantastic.
I do like those guys. Those are hilarious. They're hilarious.
Yeah, so that's just a thing. We when I write the episodes, well, I'm not writing them anymore, but when I wrote them, it was, and this blew Ray Middleton's mind when I said this on his show, is that when we just write what we want to see. We don't write with the confines of the game in mind. And then I'll write these, and then I'll give them to these guys.
And then you figure it out later.
How are we going to do this? How are you going to do that? There's no way we can do this. To date, we've done 100% of everything that's been written. What's coming, and that you'll see soon, because you've got them. But there are things like, you're going to say the same thing. It's too big. I mean, how are you going to do it? But we always.
I don't know. After what I've seen out of what you've done in the first 2 seasons, I'll probably just be like, I don't know. He'll figure it out.
Yes, that's how it goes. And the original, the first season we had the simple animations, and then they became more complex, and now I'm using a lot of Pond 5, but still, that especially the animations with Roy and Joy, and they're just still images.
They're statues, right?
They're very South Park, and it's like, well, that totally works within the the sitcom. So to me, it's like, it looks tacky, but it's funny.
It was really funny. I mean, they just stand there, and I especially love the part where they go to the symptomatic, and is it Roy that's explaining, like,
yes,
I can't do much because my one good eye is hidden by my hand. It was like so funny.
Oh, thanks.
They're like, why didn't you do this there? It's like, Bela, my one good eye is hidden by my hand. It's like, because he obviously can't move because he's a statue. It's so funny. I was like, of course.
No, I always love hearing something like that because it's like those are written specifically to get that response, and when we know we hit it, it's like how it worked.
Oh,
So
that is good. That is good then.
so
And I love that you gave Karen a bobblehead. That was just
yeah. Oh, yes.
fantastic that Karen has a head now. So I can't wait to see how Karen reacts when she sobers up and figures out that she's been spiked with
Oh,
that
okay.
serum.
So that's where you are. So good.
Well, that was the end of 2. That was the end of season
Yeah.
2. Oh, I'm not going to say that I have read ahead. I'm not going to
Oh,
spoil
no.
anything.
You've got right now. You can go.
Oh, I haven't
go
started
up to
season 3 yet. No,
Oh,
I
yes.
haven't. I should. I didn't
have
realize
fun.
that. I didn't realize episodes were actually out until I talked to you on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah,
And so I wanted to refresh myself on season 2. So my son and I did that
Excellent.
last night. And then he decided he wanted to watch Harry Potter. So we watched that until
Well, we
bedtime.
spent 3 hours watching Avatar last night, or the second one. So
Oh, yeah. My husband was like, I didn't know that was out yet. And I'm like, I'm not watching that right now. So
well, we looked at it and said 3 hours, 16
hours is-
minutes.
I
and then,
know.
of
I was
course,
like,
we
I'm not
turned it
watching that
on,
right
that
now.
was the end of it. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Like that's a whole nother like thing. So yeah, I got to get caught up on the other episodes now, but and whoever's voicing Karen, I got to tell you, she sounds like Carrie Fisher to me. It's just, I keep hearing that voice and I'm like, oh my God, she's like Carrie Fisher. I love it. I love it though.
Oh,
It's just so good.
That'd be a surprise twist. Carrie Fisher guest stars.
Right? That would be
I'll
such a
tell
shock.
you about her. We wouldn't have Rugrats without her. She
Oh,
was a
wow.
developer at Disney, and well, at the time at Nickelodeon, but she brought that to fruition. So she's
Wow.
Angelica.
What's that?
Oh, it was Angelica. I'm just kidding.
Yes. No, it's not a voice actor. She was a
Oh.
TV developer, but she's been a friend of mine for a long, long time. She lives up here by us, and her husband do theater up here, and we've been doing stuff for years. But she loved the show, and I'm like, you want to part in it? And she's like, no, I don't do any acting, any voice acting. I only direct, I only produce. And like, come on,
Oh, well,
yeah, you can do
she's
it.
killing it.
Oh,
Oh,
she is,
yeah.
and
I
she
really
is
love her
loving it.
voice, yeah.
We will.
Right?
Character.
We are on the floor sometimes laughing when she comes away. With her laugh the last time was just like, oh my God, she's so good. And this other guy is a friend of theirs, is now he did some smaller parts. He did David Mack. He did the professor, or Dr. Creepy, and we loved it so
Dr.
much.
Creepy,
Like, okay, you gotta do, what would you want to do Chip's dad, Pops? And he's like, well, what's he like? And I'm like, yeah, he's a hippie, I guess. I mean, he was a ghoul in season 1. We don't know much about him, but
Yeah,
but
he
the
wasn't around
backstory-
long.
but he kind of is a hippie. And he goes, well, what about if I do like Donald Sutherland from the Dirty Dozen, or from what's the movie he was in with Telly Savalas? I can't remember.
You mentioned it the other night and I've already forgotten.
I know, so that's
crazy.
but he totally channels that, and it's like, oh my God, he's so
That's
good.
fantastic.
Season 3.
Yep.
Oh,
He's
good.
fun.
Awesome. That was so cool.
Do you have plans for going back out here to
That's part 2.
Laughlin this year?
Yes, and as a matter of
That's
fact,
after our
I was
break,
just
though.
in your neck of the woods 2
You
weeks
missed that
ago.
part.
I know. I miss my cue.
But Jaxis, what because and I'll talk about this in the second part, but we just shot Black Mountain 2 weeks ago, and it's the next one I'm going to edit. But through the weirdest connection of doing a little bit of research on how I could get up there, I found this 2006 obscure article about radio towers, and the guy mentions a name in it, and I called this guy, and he's now the chief engineer of Odyssey, and he runs those things up there. I'm like, well, I do this show, would you be interested in doing an interview, and could I get up there? And he's like, you can do it as long as you make sure everybody understands nobody comes up here. And I'm like, yes, we can make that happen. He took us up there. We got in the buildings. I got all of Black Mountain shot. Wait till you see that.
Wow.
And he gave a pretty good interview. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
But I thought of you because it's like, oh, I'm in Henderson. And then I'm looking down at Henderson from the backside of it. And it's like, oh, Jaxis is down there somewhere. So
Down there somewhere.
You gotta hit me up.
Even Stats wants me to shoot a commercial for Fallout New Vegas. So we're going to be going back up to do that. And I actually got to look you up because I want to try and get some of you guys out there to do cosplay for that commercial. So I've already got Courier One and Volcro Blues and a few others who will do it. So I'll let you know when we're going to do it.
All right, cool. Yeah, sounds cool.
That's
Fun.
Damn.
Any excuse to go to the Pioneer Saloon is worth it.
I wish we were closer.
Yep.
Okay, well, if you guys don't have any more to add about the sitcom, or if you guys don't have any questions or comments,
Bye.
bye, Linda.
Bye,
It was great to
Linda.
meet you.
You too.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back with Chip, and we'll talk about his other adventure series, which is travel. All right, hold on. We'll be right back.
Ever wanted to be a content creator but had no clue where to begin? Come join me as I sit down with content creators that have already faced the challenges you're up against, as they discuss the tips and tricks that help them be successful. Here on The Content Creator's Guide, available wherever podcasts can be found.
Welcome back to the second half of this episode, or yeah, it would be second half. Let us continue this conversation here. Sassy lady, take it away.
Okay. Just to reiterate, in case we missed it, if you are enjoying our shenanigans, you can follow us on Twitter at FalloutRTB. You can send us an email, falloutrtb@gmail.com. You can check us out on YouTube and see some insanely crazy, weird, wacky stuff sometimes, because you will see us in person. Just search for the Fallout Roundtable on YouTube or any other socials, but check us out, give us a follow, give us a like, send us an email, send us a DM, chit chat with us. Don't look up Jaxus's weird looking nose right now, because that's strange. All right. So we're back with Chip. We've been talking about his sitcom, The Chipmunk Show, but he has another show that I don't know. Is it part of The Chipmunk Show? It is, right? But it's
it kind of is
different.
Yeah, it evolved because it was about 9 years ago. I had gone out. We were out in Vegas, and we were driving back, and I said, "Oh, look, that says Goodsprings," because I had never really paid attention to it before. I said, "Let's go up there and see what it looks like." And I went up, and it's like, oh my God, it's this. You were in game, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do like a photo essay thing? So I built a really bad Vault Boy head and had a vault suit, and I started going out to locations and doing photography. And there was no place to put it at the time, so I found one Fallout something, and it was just like this little, I can't even remember what it was. It was just a chat type thing, but I could upload the pictures. And people liked it, and they were kind of fascinated by it. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to, can I do anything more with this? And then nothing happened, so I didn't really want to. Last year, when I went to New Vegas Day, I was so blown away by what people were doing and just everything else, and seeing that all the people that were active in the community and out here. And I thought, if I could do a video, it would be really cool now, because the Chipmunk Show is already going. It's like, wouldn't it be cool if I then did, something more? And
that's how I got to know who you were.
Yes, exactly. And I thought, well, what if Chipmunk in the real world does a travel show? Because it would be from his point of view, which would be fun. And then I just went with it. And the first one was, I talked to Stephen at who owns the Pioneer Saloon, and asked if we could start there because the game starts there, and he was all for it. And then he gave an interview, and it just went from there. And I thought, this is what I always wanted to do with this idea, was do essentially a travel show where we talk about the location. What it evolved into was, very quickly, is like, well, this is a really good vehicle to give the gamers real world context for these locations. So it's not just, these designers went out and sketched some things. They spent an inordinate amount of time and detail and attention to these locations. And when you go around them and see that, it's like to go in the buildings, to see Mount Charleston, anywhere we've gone, and we only cover about an eighth of them in 22 episodes.
Yeah.
But there's so much, and it's like, this needs to be celebrated. There's so much work here that gets taken for granted. So that was what we did. And then it's like, well, I'm going to take it one step further, and then we're going to give the history of these places. And when we started doing that, that's when people really started to engage the show, because it was especially the strip episode, which is still one of my favorites, because I had gone, there was never any plan, we're going to follow the route of the courier, or, try and make sense of the game as far as what happens in the game. We're like, no, we're just going to bounce around. We kind of ended up doing it it does kind of follow the game. But when I did the nuclear test site museum, well, I went to the test site, but I also went to the museum and got interviews at the museum, and that broke into 3 parts. And then doing the strip episode, when I'm talking about the history of Vegas, and you get into the mob and everything else. And then the Mojave itself, and then some of the more obscure locations, all of a sudden you get this incredible appreciation for why New Vegas is so embraced, in my opinion. And it's because nowhere else in time or in the world have the most obscure things come together at one time. And when you look at it, you've got the nuclear testing, the mob, wild entertainment, Howard Hughes, all of this happened at the same flashpoint. And it's like, Vegas is the most unique, incredible place in the world. And I used to hate Vegas because I never won, but but then now I love it, because it's like, there's nothing like it in the world. And I think the game designers and the creators, they must have had that, because they bring it out in the game, with House and
right.
It's post-apocalyptic, obviously, but it's Benny, as the Tops, which is, all of that's real world, and it's so inspiring. And it's like, I love this. And that's what I've been able to really, do with the show. And I'm very pleased with that. Even we were just talking about the Black Mountain episode. I've got all this footage, and I'm like, how am I going to make an episode out of this? And it's like, no, I've got an idea already. The Nellis one I just posted today, we couldn't get permission from Nellis because, well, there's a number of reasons besides security issues, right? Or not issues, but they've got projects going on. But the response that came back was, you're essentially, we appreciate it, but in order to get a media pass, your demographics and audience needs to be so and so. And I'm like, the U.S. Air Force is telling me my demographics are too small, but that's okay. So I thought, well, I can still just use images or whatever. So when we were out there because we went up to Zion after we did Black Mountain, and I'm like, stop by, get off by Nellis, and I'll get a 5-mile shot. So we did, and it's all I've got. When I started, we pull over from Vegas, we show the base, and then pull out, and here I am 5 miles away from it. And I talked a little bit. And then I thought, well, we're going to talk about the train tunnel, so we'll go down there tomorrow. And I thought, when I got home, I'm like, I don't have enough footage to put a Nellis episode together. But when I did, it's 15 minutes like the rest of them. And it's one of my favorites. It's fun and informative, and it's just the whole spirit of what we do at the show. So Black Mountain I don't suspect it'll be a problem, but as far as putting it together, but I never know when I do them, but
not if you got full access.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and he did a great job. He gave a really cool interview. The noise is a bit much, but we'll work on that. But yeah, so that's the travel show in a nutshell.
That's really cool. So you've been out west doing all the New Vegas stuff. Do you have other travel shows in mind? Like, hint, hint. I mean, I met you. I didn't meet you in the West.
Right.
Are you going to Appalachia?
I met you in the East.
As a matter of fact. Yeah, so I mean, we went out when we went out to Fosnacht in February, we shot all over and shot enough for 10 episodes, actually. But we're technically going back in the fall to get the rest of the footage. So that's going to be a wild road trip. I'm really looking forward to that, but because the dog's going to go on that one.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah, Coyote has to be in it. We put her in the opening credits with the animation, so it's like, oh, is Coyote in it? Yeah, I
And
guess
we
she
left her
should
home.
be in it. So, but yeah, it's that's season two. So season one was the Mojave Wasteland. Season two is Sweet Home Appalachia, and that's all I'm going to do because people have said, "Are you going to do Washington? Or are you going
Say,
to do Boston?" It's
I
like,
would have thought you'd have to go to DC.
I know and a lot of people have asked that, and I just I'm getting too old and too much is going on, and I love what we've done so far, and I'd rather go out on a high note because I'll probably burn out and they won't be interesting. But beyond that, other people do a lot in Boston and DC, and it's their turf, and I mean I felt awkward going to West Virginia, but you know the West Virginian welcomed me with open arms, and it's like, so we're gonna be doing stuff together anyway once I get out there. But and
Right.
everybody's like that. Nobody feels like you're intruding on their space. But I don't. That's me. I always feel like it's their turf.
No,
But
but you also do like you do a different thing than West Virginian does.
yeah,
So, yes, you both talk about West Virginia and you like touch on history of locations for Fallout and whatever, but you do it like way differently because he kind of goes off of from a West Virginian aspect. And hey, there was a game here and this was in the game and blah blah. But you're doing it based like on a Fallout perspective, sort of. It's different.
yeah. And I think that's why it's been popular for the most part. I mean, it can the and that's what's fun about doing it as Chipmunk. And the oh, what's I lost my train of thought there.
We don't know anything about that.
I know that total derailed train of thought. But it was something about the just the style and the tone. Because bear with me here, this happens. um oh well, that's fine.
It'll come back to you.
So yeah. Any questions about it?
About the next season, about Appalachian. So you're gonna get more footage when you come back in the fall.
Yeah.
I know I saw you. So are you gonna try and hit any other festivals or just Helvetia is like all you're gonna make?
Yeah, I know we're gonna pretty much canvass the state, but one of the reasons we're trying to target early October is that when I was in Grafton shooting there, they're going to have a cryptid festival on October 6th, and she didn't know the game. The store owner next to her did, and he's like, "Oh my God, could you come back?" And blah blah blah. I'm like, "Well, yeah, I don't represent Bethesda. I'm not part of
Right.
it." So I said, "But I am going to be back to shoot more, and if you want me to come up, I'll be happy to do it." Well, then once we got to talking, she's like, "Well, how can we incorporate Fallout?" And I'm like, "Well, you're going to bring a lot of Fallout
Yeah.
fans if you start
So people
promoting
are
it because
just
there's a
gonna be
lot
here.
of them in the area." And I
Right.
said, "So what is Grafton going to do? I mean, if you do Grafton Day, that would be cool." And once we started talking, it all came out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could definitely do that." And we could
Get
have
you a
people.
big old grafted monster, run him down the main street of town, get you some
They are
iBots rolling around. We will shoot him.
Unless something changes, they are 3D printing a life-size Grafton monster just to do Grafton Day.
Holy crap, that's amazing.
Yeah, and the guy's right up the street from them. It's like, well, there's nobody here in Grafton, and
way.
yet there's a 3D printing guy that's going to do a full-size monster. That's
A
really cool.
full
Grafton.
size. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, you heard it here first. So make your plans to go to Grafton Day for real life.
It's funny because I'm going to
October.
call her next week to follow up and see what the plans are and what they want me to do. But yeah,
Holy
we
cow.
definitely are going to do it one way or the other. But
Wow.
that's going to be the beginning of that trip. So if I do that on Saturday, I'm just going to devote the whole day to that, and tape, of course. But then we'll go out and hit as much as we can. So
Wow.
it was cool to be there in the winter though, because we did go up, make it a point to go up to top of the world, which of course is
Yep.
snowshoe, and it
Yeah.
was plenty of snow. So
They
it
had
looked
snow,
really
right? Yeah.
good. they were in full operation at the time.
Yep.
So that was cool. And it was fun to walk into the village because it's the same. It looks exactly the same. It's just not as beat up, but
Well,
it's
yeah. Oh,
really
how
cool.
cool is that? So did you go up in the top of the world
No,
thing?
they don't have it. I don't know if they did at one time. When I do the research, I'll find out. But the lift now looks very typical of like Mammoth Mountain or any of the ski resorts, which is this kind of long, thing for the cars to, come in and out. It's not the big orange mushroom. I wish it was, because that would be awesome.
Right?
But, yeah.
I
I don't
wondered
know
if they had that big structure where, because it's like the first, like the top areas were roses. I don't know what that's supposed to be, a restaurant maybe. And then down below is like the shopping mall kind of thing. And
what
it's
it
got
is,
shops and whatnot in there.
the hotel and that is definitely not there. But the village is, the hotel and the road
all the stuff
down
around
that Raider
outside.
Arena is and all that. That is all exactly as it is in
Oh,
game.
wow.
It's all shops and boutiques and that kind of thing.
That's
It looks
cool.
identical. It's the cobblestone and everything, and in the tiers, it's exactly like it.
You see, people love that though, because I know like people will go to like the real life places and they'll post pictures like on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And I know I'll look through them and they get like tons of likes and stuff. And people are always just like fascinated because they're like, oh my gosh, like the asylum lamp, that's, that we have in the game. That's, you can go to the asylum and like, there it is hanging up. People will take pictures. So like you go to the Greenbrier, the White Springs, and the trash cans are the same. Like people take pictures of the trash cans, like the carpets and the wallpaper.
Look, we got ourselves one of the
I know, like there are people at White Springs
trash
or people at the Greenbrier or whatever are probably used to like people standing around taking pictures of the trash cans because they're just like, oh my God, there's another crazy Fallout person.
Well, it's just like
they're taking pictures of the trash cans again, Marge, but like, everything, all the details, like right down to the little, like the gazebo that's out there with the little fountain, the little spring out there, and all of the little summer cottages, they're all identical. The golf club, the pool, all of it, if you go to the Greenbrier, it's literally everything we have in the game, obviously nicer, but and no responders. Thank you very much. Hated that they let the responders trash the
I
White Springs.
wish they'd kick them out because I had big plans for that.
The robots should have kicked them out,
Yes.
they kicked out everybody else. They should have kicked out the responders.
Well,
If they could have just kept it nice, they didn't have to go and like build crappy walls and stuff in there and like junk the place up. But
when I wrote season
They
3,
made it dirty.
well, they piled all the furniture up and broke everything. It looks terrible.
it's horrible because there used to be a big auditorium. It was a theater. And had flags and it was
you can't even get in there now.
That I planned on using in episode 3 of season 3, and I'd written it all out. I imagined it all. I had my angles set and everything, and then they did that. And I'm like, oh, but they better not have messed with that. It's closed off.
Yeah, you can't get in there at all.
So
well,
so
I mean, you can still do you used the auditorium at the high school.
Yes, and we had to go back and use it again. But it technically worked because Modus is down on his luck right now on our show, so it's the best he could get. Although we say it's in the White Spring bunker, but suspension of belief there.
Yeah, they don't really have anything like that in there that we know of. Yeah, it would have been better to be able to use the White Spring one because
I wanted it so bad. But I still mourn
why
it.
can't we go in there anymore?
I know.
What are they doing? Why can't we go in there anymore? It doesn't make any sense.
I know. Evict the responders. Sorry, Ray.
Yeah, I know. I love Ray. It's not nothing against y'all, but like I thought, like why couldn't they keep the hotel part? Give the responders all the little
can you tell that
couldn't go in
making the White Springs dirty really upsets her?
It does upset me. It upsets me to my core. Trigger warning. Yeah.
At least they left the outside. Okay. So
what are we doing? He's playing. Okay, if you're on the YouTube video, Jax has been playing New Vegas in the background here.
Yeah, he's at Hoover Dam.
Trying to distract us. Well, he just got out of the ground, I think.
He just started the game.
Yeah, he's making his character.
Oh, cool.
Wait, didn't you just beat this game like last? No, it was Fallout 3.
No, I played Fallout 3.
Yeah,
I
you
just you guys were talking about New Vegas, so I
So he's
just
decided
to throw something up there. You know,
Vegas.
I'm
Or
the
you
one
can
who's
decide
supposed to be
within this
playing New
one.
Vegas, and he's playing New
it
Vegas.
was more entertaining than looking at my head. You know,
It really is.
Choose
You going
side
through
with
all
the
your
yes man.
hats.
Side with the yes man.
I've done that before.
Have you?
Boy.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who I was. I'm
Created a
supposed to. I've
robotic
not
army.
played New Vegas. I started, got to. Did I
We're
get to
waiting.
Nifton yet? Well, my computer wasn't good enough to play it, and I got tired of watching load screens spin and spin, like the little wheel spin. I just got
Because
tired
we
of
want to
watching
be a peanut gallery in the background
Yeah,
while she
so
plays.
now that I have a better computer,
Never
I
had a
need to-
problem with that stuff.
Well, my computer.
I
wasn't,
never
like,
did
super
either.
Great. I think that's all I have for you, Brian. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, plug, whatever, or anything.
No,
that-
I not at all. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for having me on. And if anybody's looking for the show, it's like they said, it's YouTube. Just search Chipmunk at 2 words, Chip.
If
and
you
then-
want a good belly laugh, that's where you go. Go watch
Yeah.
Chip.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. I mean, we
That's
were laughing our
my
butts
goal
off
in life
yesterday.
is to make
Mhm.
people laugh. So
Yep.
I'm glad that is happening.
It's
So,
good stuff. It's good stuff. And he's got a lot of quality characters on there, and it's pretty fun.
soon to be another. if you like it.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
So and if you go to Grafton Day in West Virginia, or if you go to the New Vegas Day in Goodsprings, you can
I'll
see
be there
in
this
real
year.
life.
Cool.
Just look for the dude in the scout uniform with bobblehead.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Everybody say goodnight.
Everybody say goodnight.
Everybody say good night.
Thank you for coming, Chip. Thank you. And everybody, thanks for hanging in with us.
Oh,
Thanks
no,
for
thank you.
staying.
Always a pleasure. So anytime.
All
All right, guys. Have a great night.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.